Unlock the secrets to lush, long eyelashes. Discover the nutritional keys today. Imagine a world where your eyelashes are not just longer, but thicker and more vibrant than ever before. With the right nutritional guidance, this dream can become your reality. Let's dive into the essential nutrients that can transform your eyelashes from lackluster to luxurious. Now, per eyelid, you have about 1 to 200 hair follicles. And the hairs that grow out of your eyelids go through two different phases. One is a growth phase and a rest phase. And when people start either losing their eyelashes or they become small and very thin, there's a problem with one of these two phases. And there's a lot of different technical names for these conditions that describe them, but that doesn't really tell you what's really behind this problem. I mean, if we just take a look at the basics, we have the eyelash. What is an eyelash? Well, it's protein. What makes up protein? Amino acids. What makes up amino acids? Well, we have a combination of this biochemical reaction occurring with certain raw material. Which one really important factor would be trace minerals? Okay, so you need trace minerals to make amino acids, which then help turn into proteins, which are basically just a long chain of different amino acids. And when you're missing certain trace minerals, devastating things can happen to your body. Much like missing a trace mineral in the soil will have devastating effects on the plants as well as devastating effects on the animals that eat the plant. And on top of that, the devastating effects of humans eating animals that are deficient in certain trace minerals. Now, I just want to mention a book that I'm reading, which actually relates to this topic. It's a fascinating book. This is it right here, Soil, Grass, and Cancer. Okay? Now, when I first found this book, it sounded very, very interesting until I got to the price, which was $250. So immediately I said, there's no way in hell I'm going to buy a book that's $250, despite revealing the link between human and animal health and mineral balance. In the soil, which got my attention because I'm doing all sorts of experiments on my farm. So about an hour later, it's basically haunting me. I'm thinking, why can't I find any used books that are a lot less expensive? I mean, why aren't people getting rid of this book? I mean, maybe it's extremely valuable and no one is wanting to resell it. And it starts to evolve to this point of like, I have to get this book. I have to see what's in this book because it must be good if it's that expensive. Or I would see some negative reviews. I haven't seen any negative reviews only. Amazing reviews now. Of course, it's a bit technical for the average person, but it's a fascinating study on the relationship between missing trace minerals in the soil and how that affects the plant and the animals and humans. Because the foundation of our health actually starts in the soil. If there's something missing in the soil, which there is, how can you create food and animals that feed us, that turn into health? You can't. And these little trace minerals are vitally important because it's at the heart of enzymes. It's at the heart of making vitamins like B12, and it's at the heart of making antioxidants and even phytonutrients. All right, so let me get back on topic here because I'm getting a little distracted. So if you investigate and look up the mechanism of why someone would lose their eyelashes, it comes down to a deficiency of a very specific type of prostaglandin. Now, don't get too hung up on this word prostaglandin. Prostaglandin is just a signaling molecule. It's kind of like a hormone. It's a message that travels through the body that tells the body to do certain things. And if you're deficient in a certain prostaglandin, you can have all sorts of problems with growing hair, inflammation, and yet if there's other prostaglandins that you have too much, that can relate to things like headaches. For example, when you take an aspirin, what you're doing is you're blocking certain types of prostaglandins, and that's why aspirin works for headaches. But in summary, some of the medication that they use involved in growing eyelashes have to do with enhancing this deficiency of this specific prostaglandin called prostaglandin F2 alpha, if you really want to know. We're just going to call this PGF2 alpha, and that way we can sound a little bit smarter. So there's actually just two things you need to know about increasing this deficiency of this prostaglandin. One is an acid called racemolic acid. That acid can help correct that deficiency and help someone regrow their eyelashes. Not just help grow it, but it can actually thicken eyelashes and then help the texture to make them have the right oil consistency. And number two, zinc. And that is the trace mineral that I'm leading up to. When you're a zinc deficient, you can't make that prostaglandin. Now, remember, I talked about trace minerals making all sorts of things like enzymes and phytonutrients. Well, they also make this signaling molecule called prostaglandin. And without zinc, you can't make it. So this is why zinc is really important in your nails, your skin, your hair, your immune system, making testosterone. It's involved in literally like 100 different biochemical reactions at least. And so there's been quite a few reports and people taking zinc and helping regrow their hair and specifically the eyelashes. Now, if you're going to get a zinc supplement, I would highly recommend you get a quality zinc supplement in a blend of all the trace minerals. And to be totally transparent, I have a zinc product and a blend of all the trace minerals that I sell. And I'm not even telling you to get that product. It's actually more important to find out why you're deficient in zinc in the first place, like looking at your diet. So zinc is involved in regrowing the eyelashes and also this racemolic acid, which, by the way, is in castor oil. Now, castor oil is a laxative, it's a preservative, it is something that helps women induce labor when they're about to deliver. It's used as a skin moisturizer, it's also used as an anti-dandruff remedy, but a lot of women use it to help regrow their eyelashes. And personally, if you're going to get castor oil, just make sure it's organic and it's cold processed or unrefined. As long as it's that, you don't have to get a very, very expensive castor oil because a lot of the castor oil really comes from the same place. Because some people actually sell in these very tiny bottles where it's, you can get the same material in a much larger bottle at a fraction of the cost. So the two best things for the eyelashes are zinc and castor oil. I would put castor oil topically and take zinc internally because that way you're working on something from the inside out. Now, there's a really interesting study done in mice where they evaluated feeding mice aspirin because aspirin blocks those prostaglandins, right? And this is what they found. They found that when they did that, they created the exact same effect as a zinc deficiency because they looked at the symptoms of a zinc deficiency and a prostaglandin deficiency and were both the same. Recognize the warning signs and dig deeper than just temporary fixes. It's crucial to uncover the root cause rather than just covering up the symptoms. Stay tuned for our next video, where we'll explore the causes of zinc deficiency and how to address it effectively. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and questions in the comments below.